My name is Greta Bereisaite. I'm dating and relationship coach for women. For high value women secrets, subscribe to my channel and check out my videos that I upload daily. I upload shorts daily and I do lives usually about once a week, but today I'm feeling very generous because I have a great topic to share. So I thought I'll do a live during the week as well. And without further ado, today's live is very practical, and it is called 5 Practical Ways to Show a Man Your Worth Without Saying a Word. Can you ladies imagine? Because, in today's society, all women are so influenced, and men also, to communicate how you feel, communicate this, communicate that. And the thing with men don't respond very well to communication. We see communication as a lot of blah, 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 and it just goes over their head. Or we actually see the communication as nagging, complaining, controlling, she talks too much, etc., etc. So you basically end up wasting your energy, wasting your words, breaking things down to him like he would be a baby. And on top of that, instead of him listening to you, paying attention to you, and improving himself or becoming a better man because you communicated everything to him, he actually ends up stepping back and calling you all kinds of names, calling you controlling and crazy and needy and clingy and etc., right? So communication majority of time does not work when you're trying to show your value and worth, unless you're doing it very directly and like in 1 or 2 sentences. So today I wanted to share with you 5 strategies, 5 practical strategies, what actually does work with a man. Okay, and I'm just gonna jump right into it. And if you have any questions in between, leave them here and I'll try to answer them as well. Okay, so the number one, I thought I'll start with texting. It's completely practical. So all these strategies, I seen some videos like this around YouTube as well, but there was nothing practical in those videos, so I thought I'll do the practical stuff. So the number one, I would say it's texting, right? Let me give you an example of texting. So let's say you're talking to a guy, everything is going well. Maybe you've been talking to him for a week or a few weeks or a couple of months, right? And he's kind of testing to see what kind of girl you are. Do you have value within yourself, or are you gonna get involved into an argument or into a fight? Do you use rude words, etc., etc., right? And he just also is thinking, like testing the waters to see, can he get away with some stuff if he behaves in a rude way with you, right? So I have a lot of clients. I had thousands and thousands of clients via year. So I'll tell you how my clients used to respond to it when we were not coached by me. So the guy would say something rude and the girl would get wind up and she would go on and on. She would call him back when sometimes she would call him the names back. Other times she would shame him. Other times she would tell him off, all kinds of ways. But everything involved communication. And what would happen in return, the guy would step back, would ghost her, would disappear on her, or sometimes he would say something rude and the girl is even ruder. She starts to attack him. So the guy would basically disappear on her for good. So one of the really good ways to put your message across, to put your value across, when a guy texts you something a bit rude, you read the text and you don't respond to it. Now, if you've been talking to this guy for a while, perhaps you are friends or you've been on few dates and he's like into you, you're just kind of testing waters, and he texts you something rude. And men are not children. We know, we understand when we text you something rude. So he texted you something rude. He's like being a bit, off. And he's like, ooh, exciting. What is she gonna do, right? And you don't respond and you actually get off the, let's say, WhatsApp, and you do something else. Majority of time, what will happen? He will double text. He will double text because he will get insecure about what he has said. He'll be like, shit, like she's not responding. I said maybe something overly sexual, or I was too rude, or I did. He knows what he did because he was like, ooh, let's see, can I get away with it? Does this woman have boundaries? So what will happen majority of the time, if you don't reply to the text and he cares about you, he will double text because he'll panic and freak out. If what he said in the text is very slight, like, I don't know, a little bit of a sexual comment, for example, and you wait for him to double text and he completely changes the topic, then I would just reply to that topic and ignore that sexual comment and just would leave it, right? If it was quite rude, what you can do, you wait for him to double text and you just don't open that message, and you open that message much later. So maybe in the evening or maybe even the next day. By that time, very likely he even maybe triple text to apologize for what he said, and you just reply, no problem. The reason you reply no problem, because you not replying to this text, you ignoring that text, it's a boundary by itself. He felt that you disappeared on him for a while, meaning that if he keeps doing it, maybe next time you will disappear on him for a bigger while. And if he keeps doing it again, maybe another time you will actually disappear on him for good. You see? So you're putting any practical boundary without saying a word. And this is how you're showing your value and worth. And again, men respond to what? Not your blah, 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 but to your actions. You want a guy to be perfect? Do it with an action. Don't waste your energy talking. Number 2, sometimes guys purposely, when you're with them, they try to wind you up, right? So how guys wind you up? Usually guys, I got my hair and my lips on my lips. Usually guys try to wind you up, I don't know, talking about an ex and how great she was and what amazing chef she was, or talking about something else that is like he knows it will annoy you, right? So he starts these conversations, maybe an XXX or some girl that's very pretty. He starts to talk about her and he gets into it, and you don't want to hear about it. And the conversation is really annoying you, right? So maybe he's talking about an ex, how she maybe, I don't know, something about an ex, and the conversation is annoying you. If you will ask more questions towards it, he will be like, ooh, like she's getting insecure and she's curious and all of that. I can talk about it more. Let's see, like, will she, how wind up? She's very interested how wind up she will get, right? But if you look like, and you start to do your lipstick, you do your makeup, you check your phone, he continues talking and talking, and you look like you're so bored and you're drifting asleep and all of that. Guess what will happen? But he will change the topic because he will see you're completely not interested in his manipulation and games and the winding up that he's trying to do with you. And this is how you show your value, by not giving value to a toxic conversation, by not getting involved in it. If it comes to the point that he's winding you up too much, sometimes it happens, we don't stop. We think like, oh, she's ignoring me, I should do it more and more and more and more and more. Then you go like, oh, I have like something to do at home, or I'm meeting a friend later, and you leave. And then you'll be like, oh shit, why did she leave so quickly? Did she leave so quickly because she didn't enjoy the time with me? And that's another boundary, because next time he's going to be on his better behavior. So this is the second boundary on how to set, how to show a man your value and worth without saying a word, right? Number 3. Okay, this is a bit tougher, but it works with guys that are a bit more mature. So maybe like more mid-20s, late 20s, like in 30s, he should definitely know this, right? But it's more like towards more mature guys, not like 16, 17, 18, like early 20s. It's more mature, right? So that's number 3. If, let's say, a guy asks you out last minute, let's say he texts you at it's 9 p.m., 8 p.m. He texts you, do you want to meet up? Or he texts you for like a booty call or something like that, right? And you want to show your value and worth, like you don't do this type of stuff. Like you don't have to reply to this text. It's too rude for you to even reply to it. If he asks you, let's say last minute, meaning that it's the morning and he's like, oh, Greta, I would love to meet up with you in the evening or something. To this, you can say like, oh, would be nice to meet up, but I already made plans. However, if he actually asks you last minute meetup, like in 2 hours for, let's say, like a booty call or like something like that, you don't even have to respond to it. You set in a boundary by not responding to it, and he knows what he's doing. And when you don't respond to it, he goes like, this is not that type of girl. You see? So you set in a boundary. So where ladies would go wrong, they would be like, how dare you to text me this? Who do you think I am? You know, like text the hooker or text somebody else. You know, we get offended and we start to attack the guy. And when you attack a person and when you use all kinds of words, you know, we remember it, and sometimes things go out of hand and he tries to explain himself, or when he starts to attack you back, and just things go off, you know. But when you don't say anything, he's got nothing on you. And another day, if he confronts you about it or anything, you can be like, oh, I just got busy, or I forgot to reply to your text. I was really busy. I was with my friends. You know, you can give an excuse if you still want to talk to him. Sometimes, guys, you know, he will text you at the last minute for that booty call. You'll ignore it. And next time he'll be like, shit, I actually like her. I'm gonna ask her out again and I'm gonna give a better offer. And then if he gives you a better offer, go like nothing happened. Ignore the booty call thing. Just go like nothing happened, see? But ladies, when you then go on a date, please, seriously, please, when you go on a date to date lightheartedly. Stop putting men on pedestal. You know, a guy asks you on a date, oh wow, it's a date. Wow, that's a no, it's just a date. Like look at men like it's just a date. It's like you're just hanging out with a male. I think majority of women that put men on a pedestal like that's so high. Usually we didn't have brothers or cousins or didn't really grow up with guys. You know, women that usually had a lot of guy friends or grew up with had brothers, we don't put men on a pedestal like that. But girls that went to the girls' school, only had sisters, we tend to put men on a pedestal and think like, wow, he asked you on a date, this is Prince Charming, you know. So whereas girls that were teased all their childhood by guys, you know, we know it's just a date, whatever. So, okay. Number 4. This is really important. I noticed that a lot of women, a lot of women come to me for coaching, right? And we say, Greta, I'm high value. Ladies, I don't call myself high value. You will never hear me calling myself high value. It's not up to me to go and be like, oh, I'm high value, I'm high value. I'm just a woman. You know, you're just a woman. Am I high value or not? It's up to a guy to decide. It's not up to me to decide. You know, do I have any value? It's maybe to some guy I don't have any value. You know, to other guy you'll be like, oh wow, she's pretty cool. You know, so it's like, are you high value or not? Don't walk around saying this, I'm high value. I seen a guy actually last summer, I think. He had this hoodie, and at the back of the hoodie it said alpha male. And I'm just like, this looks so pathetic. Like, what alpha male, do you know, that wears a hoodie that says on the back of a hoodie, alpha male. It's the most ridiculous thing you can ever do. You know, so walking around with saying I'm high value and doing all this arrogant bit, like, he will see you are high value based on your actions, based on your behavior. And your behavior needs to be humbled, kind, soft, sweet, but with like boundaries. You know, like be feminine, soft, and sweet. But you know, he texts you a rude text, you don't reply to it. He tries to wind you up, you're like soft and sweet. So you take your lipstick out, you know, you're like, do this, you know. He talks and he's like, did you hear it? Oh, sorry, you were saying something, so I was just in my head. Right? That's it. You like smooth, soft, not like, how dare you, how this, how that, like none of that. Smooth, soft. And when he's like, oh, Greta is so sweet. She's not like in her videos. Because I'm teaching you girls. This is why I'm like this. Like when I'm teaching you girls, I'm like full on. This is teaching mode. This is like I want you to take it seriously. In real life, soft, sweet, kind. I need a boundary. I'll sit in a boundary in a way you won't even notice it's a boundary because it's soft and sweet and kind. Okay? This is how you do it. And you don't walk around saying I'm high value. Guys say like a word high value. I'm like, I pretend I didn't hear it. I'm like, I don't know what high value means. If somebody says, oh, high value woman or high value man, oh, what's like, it goes over my head like nobody knows. Like I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know any. Never watched one. I never watched one dating video until we find out, unfortunately. But anyway, number 5, tip number 5. I'll look at your messages in a bit, okay? So this is the tip number 5. This is how you show your value, right? You go on a date with a guy and he splits the bill. What do? He asks you to pay for it. I mean, you know, if a guy tells me to pay for a bill, I mean, I might look a bit like shocked or a bit, but I'll pay, right? If you're telling me to pay, I mean, I'll pay, you know, but I'm not going to see you again, right? You might be like, oh, Greta, I really enjoyed the date with you, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you did. I would like to go out with you again. Ghosted. And then you'll be like, oh, what did I do? And you'll think like we had a great time, but I split the bill. So by actually not dating this guy anymore, you are showing your value, you know. Or let's say you're asked on a date and the guy cancels the date. You know, he actually cancels the date last minute. Even if it's not last minute, he just can't, all he needs to do is cancel the date or ghost you, right? But the date is there, it's set. Don't see him, don't talk to him, that's it, done, capiche, bye-bye. Like, if you're not into me enough to show up on a date, to, you know, to show that you care, to show that you're into me, like, why would I be bothered? I have my value. I value myself, and I will only date men that are into me, that are ready to impress me, that are ready to sweep me off my feet, that are ready to be masculine around me. If you're there and you're like, let's go on a date and you let's do this and that, and then you go, it's like, okay, well, bye-bye, number is deleted. No, I'm not, that's it, done. You know, same with splitting the bill. So this way you show your value and work, but then you have to stick to it and just don't see this guy, you know, like have your standards, don't fall for this. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about, so these are the 5 practical reasons. I kind of covered them all. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is high value is not like a lot of women say like, oh, do I need to change myself? But I need to this is not who I am, etc. Being high value is just improving yourself to be better. And it's not about you changing yourself. It's more about you having a different perspective. It's just a different perspective towards dating. If you had a perspective towards dating like before and you were like talking and nagging and complaining and texting and calling and pursuing and all of that, majority of the time these things don't work. Like 99% of the time, unless the guy is just using you as an ego stroke, and just like it's comfortable, convenient, and he's just using you as an ego stroke. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So it's not really you changing yourself, it's just changing your perspective towards dating, how to date so you actually have success, you have successful relationship and you get married and you have successful marriage. That's all that it is. You're just changing your perspective. And also, I wanted to say, so many of you really blame yourself for things. Like you're like, I've been low value myself in my 20s. Oh, I did so many mistakes. I did so many mistakes. I was always very confident. Like, I done so many mistakes. And when I found out that all of these things were mistakes, I thought like, oh, bloody, Greta, you're so bloody stupid. Another level of stupidity, that's how, but at the same time, I kind of laughed at myself, and I didn't really blame myself for things too much. I was like, I just didn't know any better. Nobody told me better. So once you actually learn the skills, forgive yourself, let go, you didn't know any better, we all been there, move on, change, continue, etc. Right? It's like, don't be so hard on yourself, we all been there. And with today's society, everyone is influencing you to behave in all crazy ways, so it's kind of all understandable, like change yourself, get a coach or do it yourself, follow the strategy, you'll get better, you'll start to see success once you'll change your perspective and you will start to behave high value. You will start to see different results with guys. They will respect you more, they will value you more, we will stop ghosting you. It's just gonna be a completely different relationship, and once you'll start to see your results step by step, you'll start to trust this more, and then you'll get more better at this stuff, so yeah, ladies, just a quick live today. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to book me for coaching, I'm here, one-on-one coaching. You just follow the link towards my website. I have videos for sale for the ladies that are in the relationships or married, or you just started to date, but you kind of have a guy, right? I highly recommend you to get my video at differences between men and women. Like, I really highly recommend you. Ladies, the amount of marriages I saved just by sharing the differences between men and women, it's crazy. Women are on the edge of divorce, and we go like, Greta, I'm divorcing, he's this and that. And I'm just like, well, maybe he's not this and that. You're just expecting him to behave like a woman. And you share the differences, and a woman understands. And once you understand, you know how to work differently. And then basically the marriage is saved just because you know the differences between men and women. And if you're single, ladies, and you want to get into a relationship, I have a perfect video for sale as well, how to go from single to a happy relationship. All of these videos are for sale on my website. Okay, and if you want, one-on-one coaching, I'm available for it too. I'm just gonna have a quick look. Where is everyone watching from? Where are you ladies from? Oh, thank you, you're very sweet. Hello, looking towards to home. And okay, good. Yes, re-watch this video, it's really good, it's got some practical tips, it's good. When is it good to communicate your feelings? When he communicates his first. I have a man who told me he regretted having sex with me. I think because I showed less interest because of his lack of commitment. I think To be honest, I need to know the situation better. But for a guy to say that he regretted to do this with you, it sounds to me like he purposely tried to hurt you to see, are you gonna, it's a bit like winding somebody up to me, but because it's so uncommon for a man to say something like that. And if it was lack of commitment, of course you did the right thing. Like men play a lot of games, and a lot of times they will say anything and everything just to wind you up, even things that completely do not make sense. Also, ladies, remember, nowadays men are really much encouraged to talk like girls and to behave like girls. And when we do that, the girl like starts to give him excuses and stuff like that. To me, from this sentence, from what you wrote here, it sounds like you didn't do anything wrong. So don't let him manipulate. This is how you scan it. Ladies, if you are with a guy and logically thinking you value, you respect yourself, and logically thinking you have not done anything wrong, then remember you have not done anything wrong. And if he's telling you otherwise and whatever he's saying, it's like kind of weird, doesn't make sense, you're trying to understand him and blah blah. Majority of the time, it's a manipulation for him to, it's like gaslighting. Let it go over your head. If you have done the right thing, if you haven't done anything wrong, this is what it is, and he's just trying to manipulate you to get his way, and most likely for you to apologize or to chase him or to submit or whatever else. I then told him I think we shouldn't continue after sharing my feelings of this going nowhere. Okay. It's about keeping promises. A man of his word is an amazing man. It's not, well, you know, there are some countries that a man of his word is quite a common thing. You know, what a man will do, what he says he will do, you know, and if he doesn't do that, people kind of start to gossip about him. Oh, like for example, he promised to do that and he didn't do it. You know, like I actually had this conversation with some girls from church recently, and the girls were Polish and I'm Lithuanian originally. I lived abroad in UK like for over 20 years. But just remembering my teenage years, you know, like we were saying like how we asked a guy to do something and he said he will do it and he didn't do it, right? And we said he's just acting like nothing happened and he didn't do it. And oh dear, I have a wasp in my house because I have a garden doors open. Oh dear, please don't attack me. Right, not on a live, we'll get hit by the wasp on a live. You know, and the girls were just saying like, in Poland, if somebody says we will do something, we will do it. It would be shameful not to do it. In Lithuania, it's the same thing. If somebody says we're gonna do something, most likely we will do it because otherwise we will be shamed for not following through with their word. So people don't promise you stuff. You know, oh, please. It's like we have a postman, we have a wasp. What else? Who else is coming? You know, so whereas here I find it that men promise you to get things from you and they couldn't care less about doing anything. So majority of men are not really men of their words. This is why I say, you know, watch his actions, not his words. If you could trust a man's word, you know, same as you can perhaps trust in some countries because men are more, bit more decent, it is what it is, you know, then you can trust his word. But you know, in London, I lived in London for, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years. I don't count, I'm sorry, like a very long time. Flattery promises, flattery promises, flattery promises. Oh, I heard the most beautiful things about myself you can ever imagine, like ever. You'll be the princess and the most beautiful girl in the world, and you're wow this and wow this and wow that, and your curves and your blonde hair and blue eyes, and I have heard anything under the sun. It's flattery and promises, flattery and promises, flattery and promises. And if you smile when you hear it, we give you more of that, but it doesn't mean that anything will be followed through with an action. This is why all these things, we have to go over your head, and you only pay attention to the action. Is that wasp annoying you, ladies? Guys who like, okay, guys who like sweet aren't for me. Okay. It's so hard to be soft, sweet, and keep boundaries firmly. I don't know. When I say soft and sweet, I should really say that, to be honest, you have to be you, because I'm very naturally soft and sweet. I'm just born like this. Everybody, that's how I know, that's how I'm known in my family. Like, oh, Greta, that's like soft and sweet, right? So for me, boundaries, I never knew how to set in boundaries. I had a very protective dad. I didn't have to do any boundaries. I was like, you do something to me, you talk to my dad, that's it. I can be soft and sweet, right? So when I moved to London, I had to learn a lot of boundaries. Otherwise, everybody were walking all over me and doing whatever we want, because you're soft and sweet, you don't know how to do it. So I eventually learned how to do the boundaries in a way that I'm comfortable with. I don't feel bad, I don't feel guilty, it just flows nicely, and you still get to be soft and sweet, but nobody takes advantage of you. And you're not putting this with anyone either. However, not every guy likes soft and sweet. It's like, be yourself. Like a lot of guys, as we say, we like this resting bitchy face. My resting face is a smile. My resting face, I have like a little smile. If somebody's telling me off, I remember I used to have arguments with my dad when I was a teenager, right? And my dad is shouting at me, blah, blah, blah. And my face is resting, and he would shout more because he would be like, Greta, why are you smiling? You're smiling. And I'm like, I'm not smiling, it's my resting face, right? And some girls have a bitchy resting face. And you just have to be you, but be the best you. If you are a bit edgy and you got a bit more character and you're a bit more firm and this, be you. There will be a guy who loves that. Guys have different types. Some guys like soft and sweet. Some guys love a girl with an edge. Just don't be crazy. Don't be like controlling and aggressive and all of that. You can be your edgy. You can have a bit of attitude. You can do a bit of this arrogant look, like it's fine. It's not my thing, it's not me, but you can do a bit of that. As long as it's not too extreme, there will be a guy who loves it too. It's more about being who you are, but being the best in that, being the best version of yourself, Today is completely different than 20 years ago. Women want to be in the same roles as a man, which is, not completely different, because real women don't want that. When I was 16, 13, right? I was a big feminist, right? I would always like feminists who looked very feminine, right? But I was like, I had all the cousins, males were always right because we were guys. I was fighting, I was like, no, it's my way, it's equality, it's this and that. Let's say a boy fancies me, a 13 years old boy or something, I'm like, we climbing somewhere, I don't know where, hills or something. He gives me his hand to help me, and I'm just like, I don't need your hand. I can do it myself. This is ridiculous. That was me when I was a teenager. I can do it. If a guy can do it, I can do it too. Feminism. When I was a teenager, and you're rebellious when you're a teenager, when you don't know any better, when you want to break the rules. That's how you behave, right? When you mature, when you just mature, you want to feel like a woman. You start to appreciate being a woman. There is only so much that you can fight. because you're kind of pretending to be someone you're not, you know, and it's only so much that you can go. You know, eventually you're gonna be like, okay, these compliments sound so nice, and you holding my hand is so sweet, and you opening the car doors, it just makes your heart melt. You know, it's like you're done with all of that. So yeah, some girls in their early 20s or teenagers, they like rebellious and this and that, but then later we grow up and we go like, oh, this is so nice. And this water, bottle of water is so heavy to carry. And yes, if you can, you just walk around wanting to feel like a princess. And it's just maturity. It's, we grow over it. Greta, you should look up John Gray. Hun, I have a video with John Gray. We collaborated. You should look up my videos and then you will find John Gray in my videos, in my collaborations. Um, you are what you give. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, ladies. Well, have a great day. Amazing talking to you all. For one-on-one, again, you can book me for like to my website. The best videos to get, I have a high value woman course for sale. I have a video how to go from single to a happy relationship. I have a video differences between men and women. So check those things out, and thank you for watching. Have an amazing, beautiful day. Kisses. Bye, ladies.